Bitcoin, as we speak, has just lost the $66,000 level, but there's actually a bigger problem here that I'm going to be talking to you about in this YouTube video with Bitcoin, and it relates to traditional finance. So that's going to be absolutely huge. Stick around for that. Smash up the likes if you're excited. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you about this very short-term price action first. Bitcoin managed to stabilize itself around that kind of $68,000 price level just yesterday from yesterday's video. Those of you that are subscribed are going to know what I was talking about there. But from there, we weren't able to hold our ground, and we've just kind of fell below this key 66K area of support. And, you know, it's not really that big of an area of support, so we're not surprised that it's failing. But we were using it as resistance and support all the way back since the beginning of this month. So that's going back like 3 weeks now, you know, and now we've just kind of lost this price level here. So what we want to see is, you know, just kind of a nice continuation, maybe even a back test, and then continuing to come back down, capture some support down here, and then we can start to look at where this thing might go next. You know, the ideal thing is that you want to touch the highs and the lows of the range to kind of establish that you're trading sideways. That would be the best thing that the bulls could do right now, because what that would show is that the bears managed to take us back down here, but the bulls aren't having it. Bulls are actually considering low 60s to be a good price level to be buying Bitcoin, and then we see a nice kind of rip upwards as well. In between, we've got some nice areas of support, like this 63K area, obviously previously serving as resistance, and then we did see some little specks of support. Honestly, again, not a big area, not a strong area on the chart. I would not expect this level to stop a drop from happening. But, you know, maybe you get a brief kind of reaction and then kind of back down. So, you know, regardless, this is what I want to see on the low. If we end up moving back to the high, it's the exact same thing I said yesterday. We are doing something now with these kind of shorter term time frames where, you know, you could actually be seeing some highs like right here or like here or like here being key levels that the market has to get back above, right? Which is to say that if Bitcoin manages to climb back up to this level but in fact reclaim it, well, that means we're no longer setting lower highs, right? And that's exactly what we've been doing ever since the actual all-time high. It's just been a series of, you know, consecutively lower and lower and lower and lower highs, right? So you know, we start to, and this is what makes it nice in an uptrend, is we start to kind of drop the ceiling that we have to break, right? Previously we would have had to get above 68.9. Now it's only 68.2, you know, and that's going to keep dropping the more we set lower highs in this market. So these are going to be some of the key levels to be watching on a very short-term time frame. Personally, I think this is almost stepping into, you know, just too much analysis. You know, almost too much of a short time frame. So what I'm more interested in is just, you know, reclaiming this key level, this $69,000 price area. That's the exact, basically more or less the exact all-time high that Bitcoin set before in this green box. And so if Bitcoin is able to get back up to this level, but more importantly above it, that's when I think we're back to setting brand new all-time highs. There's absolutely no resistance standing between Bitcoin, you know, this 69K level and the 74K area. So it should be very easy for Bitcoin to carry on higher, you know, and so that would be what I'm looking for on the upside. And then on the downside, similar picture. You know, I would be, first of all, probably expecting support here, because I think it's been very good to support so far, and I don't think we've seen any reasons for this to crack, and I've demonstrated to you guys why. It's not as strong as it was last time, but it's still pretty good. What we did last time was coming off that low, you know, instantly, just within the next 3 hours, we're up by about 9%, right? And if we do the same thing here, coming off the low, about 3 hours later, we're only up by 3%, right? So it's clear that our reactions are getting a little bit slower, and that they're getting a little bit less extreme. I mean, this one's kind of hard to judge because, you know, not enough time has gone past by now. But, you know, about 18 hours later, we're up by 14%. And on this occasion here, about a day later, we're up by 12%. You know, we're not looking for exacts, we're not looking for perfection here, but what we are seeing quite clearly is that it's taking a little bit longer and we're bouncing a little bit less aggressively. And those are your signs that, you know, a certain level is getting weaker. We did the same thing, by the way, as resistance. This is, you know, I always like to talk to you guys about this kind of thing in the, you know, in the opposite direction, just to prove to you that I'm not talking out my ass. It's actually completely legitimate, fair, healthy analysis. Because if we look at what happened off this high right here, I mean, the first time we hit this high, it was a really nice big drop. It was a 14% drop. It took place across about 4 or 5 hours. Very quick, very snappy. The next time we got back up to this level, There was another nasty rejection of about 5%, but the next time it was only 4%, and you can see very clearly that, these reactions did become less extreme. Not only were our pullbacks smaller leading up to that inevitable breakout, but, we were also kind of getting comfy around those levels. Again, we were slowing down, right? Previously, it was a really quick, sharp rejection. The next time, it was a quick rejection, but we're back up there. The next time we're literally like not really even getting rejected, and then we're carrying on higher. That's the kind of body language that this market will be showing you, that like we're not worried about resistance. We're going to trade close to resistance. We're going to get smaller rejections off resistance. Those are your early kind of warning shots that a big move is about to come, and we haven't seen any of that on the downside here. We have seen, like I said, it getting ever so slightly weaker, but it's not enough for me to mark it down. I still think that this could be a really, really nice kind of bounce zone for Bitcoin. So again, that's what I'd like to see, just in terms of kind of establishing a range. And what that's going to do is it's going to put Bitcoin in a really, really healthy, we can kind of draw a parallel channel to demonstrate this. I don't think I'm going to keep this on my chart necessarily, but, just for this video, we can take a look at it, just a nice kind of range like this, where we get, the fake out up here, maybe we get a fake out down here, but broadly speaking, we're just trading sideways, and then, we continue going up. And that is exactly what happened right here, right? Take a look at this box, literally the exact same situation. We get a nice little fake out up here. Let me circle that, a nice little fake out down here, sideways a little bit more, and then bam, it's a lift off. We're up by 10K. So that's what you want to see over here if we're able to produce the same kind of thing. It would be so healthy for the market if you're a bull, and that's something which I think is really cool. But there are a couple of problems with this market, and funnily enough, we're actually going to be taking a look at Capo. He's obviously managed to gain quite the reputation for himself as being horribly incorrect throughout this entire market cycle, right from the bottom, staying bearish all the way up. And some of you guys think that I'm actually very conservative. This guy takes it to a whole different level. I don't necessarily think that he was wrong or stupid for any of it. I think a lot of people in the crypto space are extremely quick to act like, if you've been on the wrong side of things for a long time, you're a bad trader or something like that. But it's actually, he's demonstrating that he's better than 99% of you, because he's got a strategy, he's got a rule set, and he's sticking to it. And even if it feels uncomfortable, he's continuing to stick to it. And even though that made him wrong on this entire cycle, what it does mean is that on balance, overall, he's going to be way better than most people in the market. Which is kind of like a tricky concept to digest, but I guess you just got to take it from me. I've been in this space for 7 years now. This month marks my 7th year in the crypto market. So I've really been around. I've seen a lot. I've seen how people have made money. I've seen how people have lost money. And even though Capo was wrong on this cycle, my piece on him is that, that kind of idea, if you stay highly committed to your trading strategy, to your rule set, even if you're wrong, overall that's going to play out quite well for you. Obviously there's nuance to this, right? Like, you've got to refresh what you're doing. You've got to make sure that you're up to date. You've got to make sure that if your strategy needs to be kind of polished up a little bit, that you're doing that, right? And there are a lot of different places where Capo fell short, but I do think that now, since he's been bearish at the all-time highs, I am aligning with him a little bit more. And it's not because I like him. I really don't give a fuck. It's primarily because I also think that we're due for that pullback. And it doesn't matter to me how excited everybody else is. That's exactly the kind of environment where I'm going to feel a little bit more confident in myself, because I'm not here to agree with everybody. You guys already know this if you've been on this channel for a while. 90% plus of people lose their money. So if you find yourself agreeing with 90% plus of people, then maybe you're part of the losers too, right? So I think those are important kind of notes to be keeping in mind. I want to go over this little post with you here in this video as well, because I do think that there could be some pretty nasty challenges up ahead for Bitcoin, but honestly, just really good opportunities, because we've seen nice big drops in the altcoin market now. Matic was trading at like $1.25. Now it's just dropped below $1. We're seeing Solana finally pull back. We're seeing some nice kind of pullbacks here in the market, which is exactly what you want to see. We're seeing key coins under their support areas now. It's kind of what Capo mentioned, and it's all opening up really nice trading opportunities that I'm quite excited for. Obviously, ladies and gents, you're getting huge bonuses with the links in the description down below. A free $500 position on Bybit just for signing up using my link and following the steps on this link right here well worth checking out. That is capital you can deploy into the market, and any profits you generate are yours to keep. And there are some phenomenal no KYC alternatives as well. BingX allows you to trade traditional finance, so stocks like Apple and Tesla, in addition to crypto and everything else that we're already used to, which is super, super cool. It's actually become one of my favorite exchanges for that particular reason. But obviously Bybit does remain the best in the game. Obviously, be mindful of your local regulations. But let's go through this post right here, because it's an interesting one. And Capo's listed some very good reasons for why a drop might be coming in. And, one of the things he's mentioning here is that whales are showing interest. There's strong demand waiting at those levels. This actually makes a lot of sense. All we have to do is take a look at Bitcoin's price on a slightly more kind of zoomed out perspective, and just ask yourselves, and some of you guys were already doing this in the comment section. We were already talking about it on the YouTube channel. Those of you that are subscribed, again, we're going to be quite well aware of that. Where would the smart money want to buy? To me, it's always been completely illogical that smart money is going to be buying at the fucking all-time high, when absolutely every other Tom, Dick, and Harry has made money. Then they're going to buy the smart money, the big money. That's just usually not how the world works, right? And again, the best example of this that I lived through, which I keep kind of telling you guys about, was back here, and this was about 6 years ago, in 2018, where, all throughout this kind of, price range here, we had the big bankers talking shit about Bitcoin, but down here it's been revealed that they were actually buying Bitcoin in this very price range, right? And so the question becomes, well, did they talk shit about Bitcoin to engineer this drop so that they could buy this range, right? And, really, let's reword the question. Does that mean big people with deep pockets and strong connections, does that mean that they're manipulating the market so they can get a better entry price? Like, it's super fucking obvious, when you say it out loud. That's exactly how this game is played, right? So, and I've always kind of, brought us back to that situation in 2018 because, we do suspend our disbelief in these markets a little bit. You see a fucking lottery ticket, you see, the potential for Bitcoin to pull a fucking 2, 3, 10x, whatever, and you start like getting dollar signs in your eyes and you can't fucking think clearly, but however bullish you are, however fucking hopeful you are, it's not going to change the way the world works, okay? And the world works, like this, where the smart people with big money make money off retail every single time, and I don't think this is going to be any different at all. So, where would those whales want to be buying? Moving back to Capo's first bullet point, naturally, they're going to be looking at some deeper support levels. It just makes sense. I mean, the price hasn't had a strong pullback for an entire 200% move up, which is a 3x gain, by the way. That's $20,000 up to 70K. So that's a 3 times gain, more than that, 3.5 times gain. This is actually off the 25K level, my bad. So 25K up to 75K is, of course, a 200% move, which is a 3 times gain. And that's basically what we did, and we haven't even had it. So it's obvious, right? I mean, smart money buys dips. Smart money doesn't buy a fucking all-time high. Like, we need to get this ridiculous notion out of our heads. It's just going to lead you into trouble. Smart money doesn't do that. Smart money buys dips. Okay, so below this, that next obvious area of support is going to be at about 51, and below that is going to be at about 40, right? So that's why some more downside potential could make sense. We haven't seen a proper liquidation wick in any of the altcoins yet. See, a lot of these altcoins have actually done really well, and we can see that with the Bitcoin dominance, right? I mean, small moves like this represent big opportunities for altcoins, but what we haven't seen is a major fuck you candle on the altcoin market, right? I mean, we haven't seen just a ridiculous, like, this is a nice big move. You could even call it a ridiculous move. It's a 30% move. It happens across 4 or 5 days. It's very quick. It's very extreme, but it's not a wick, right? We're not getting those scam wicks, those absolutely ridiculous, crazy drops, maybe a little bit like this, which are very, very, very much what you would expect in these kind of market cycles here. So I don't know if that's necessarily something that we have to get, but it's definitely something you would expect. There's a little bit of info coming in about funding as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at Binance long and short. I need to actually go ahead and confirm this myself because I haven't looked at it, but I'm very curious to see what the pressure looks like for longs and shorts. Just bear with me here, ladies and gents, while I take care of a little bit here. Hopefully you can see my screen. Yes, you can. Let me just refresh this page right here and get this stuff to load up. Hopefully it works this time. There we go. And if we go ahead and switch this on over to the 1 day, we are seeing 56% long over here. We're seeing 70% long yesterday. Well, that's 2 days ago now. This hasn't quite updated in time yet, but we are still definitely majority long right now. So, you know, and when it's so extreme, like 67% here, 60%, 60% is not that bad, but 67, 69 just 2 days ago, you know, you are kind of asking for trouble. You are asking for a bit of a pullback to come, because that's just too much. That's just too much retail energy pushing on in the same fucking direction. And it's, I mean, we're seeing the result of it in front of us, right? Everybody goes long. This happens March 19. Let's take a look at where the price was March 19. It was back here. And the time frames are all a little bit weird, by the way. I believe, I'm not entirely sure about this. I believe this is probably off like Singapore time or something. You know, we are seeing nice pullbacks coming in line with that. There was a little bit of a move up, but we're now erasing it, you know, and we're coming back down to kind of where we started. So, you know, there are some longs piling in here, you know, that oftentimes does end up getting punished. And this one's also, I think, very, very interesting. You know, we're seeing macro lower highs and SR flips. Again, I've already shown you a bit of this. Here's Matic, you know, demonstrating that for us. Now, this is also actually a macro higher high. But, you know, if we zoom out even more, it's, you know, if you're very bearish, then, you know, you're going to be looking at something like this, saying that, you know, we might get something like this, right? I mean, you've got to be very bearish to say something like this. But what I thought that was actually quite interesting beyond this was that we are getting those SR flips, right? Like, we are actually finding resistance previously, you know, where we were finding resistance, where we broke out, and now we're finding resistance there again. And you can see that by zooming in a little bit more. It's pretty clear that we're getting some rejections off these price levels. And, you know, you take your pick at any other altcoin, it's the same damn thing, ladies and gents. We've got the exact same situation playing out. Here is ARB as well, one of the coins that I was actually quite keen on, still am quite keen on. But take a look at this right here. I mean, you're getting your ultimate kind of rejection right there, not able to break above this level with any conviction. You know, clearly showing us that we're starting to get, you know, the potential formation for the beginning of another downtrend here. You know, so that would be an interesting one to watch out for. And, you know, like I said, for me, the key level to break is that low 60K area for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is able to get below this price area, then I think, you know, we're looking at a lot of blood. It's going to be, you know, pretty hectic. It's going to be actually really good as a trader, you know, because there's going to be really nice buys opening up. There's going to be really nice kind of pits that you can trade the sell side as well, which are going to be absolutely fantastic and very exciting to trade as well. So, you know, I think that's very cool as well. But this level hasn't broken yet, so I don't want to be jumping too far ahead right now. You know, at the moment, I am still expecting support there, and I'd probably expect the rest of the markets to bounce up as well. Now, one of the big problems, though, that I described at the very, very beginning of this video is that Bitcoin just isn't tracking the S&P 500 very well. You know, typically Bitcoin and the S&P 500 are going to be moving, you know, quite closely because Bitcoin gets treated like a tech stock these days, right? So if the main index is doing pretty well, then naturally all the smaller ones are going to kind of fall in line with that as well. We haven't really seen that recently. The S&P 500 has set a brand new all-time high today, and was it today? I think it was today, wasn't it? Yeah, it was today. And, you know, we're not really seeing that kind of energy from Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin's actually pulling back a little bit, you know, which can get a little bit concerning, because if the S&P 500 does manage to form a pullback, and it really should at this point, I mean, it's rallied up by quite a bit above that all-time high, it makes sense to come back down. Whether we come back down just here and then continue on up, or come back down for a deeper pullback, which both are very much due in my opinion. You know, by the way, I was telling you guys the same thing previous times the S&P 500 topped out. We're pretty good at kind of spotting these kind of things here on this YouTube channel. You know, if that kind of thing were to happen to the S&P 500, then, you know, basically what we're looking at is one of the best things that's going in Bitcoin's favor is no longer going to be present. And what's that going to mean for downside pressure? We've already seen tastes of this, right? I mean, and it's like I demonstrated to you guys yesterday. If we take a look at when we were at this price range before, you know, it took us about, you know, 10, 11 days to get up, you know, but to get back down to the same price range, we did it in half the time. It's the same $12,000 move. We're just doing it twice as quick on the way down, right? And I mean, this is your warning sign. This is how you know that if shit starts getting sour, you know, Bitcoin's not going to be there waiting for you to get your exits in the mid 60K range. It's just going to have a quick flush down. It's probably going to scare a lot of people, and that's where, obviously, like I said, a lot of the money can be made. That's definitely the kind of place where I want to be, where I get excited to trade, because when you start getting traders that, you know, are just fucking, you know, hiding behind their mother's skirt, being the ETF narrative, the halving narrative, and everything like that, when they start getting a bit of a reality check, they have no fucking idea how to deal with it. But people like you and I, the sharks, the wolves, we've been around for a little bit, or even if we haven't, we've just got a head that's screwed on a little bit better. We're going to be able to take advantage of that, and that's going to get really fun and exciting. And obviously, these bonuses are absolutely sick because you can load them up now and then have them ready to go whenever you want to deploy that free capital. Again, I get a couple of questions every now and then, people asking me things like, if you had to start again from zero, what would you do? I can't stress enough. I would take all the fucking free money I could. It's so easy. Like CoinW, for example, you don't even need to make a deposit. You just need to sign up using my link, open a futures account, and you're going to get $50 for free to trade with, which is absolutely sick. BingX remains probably my favorite no KYC alternative to Bybit, just because it's got access to traditional finance as well. But Bybit's still absolutely phenomenal, best in the game as far as I'm concerned. Been working with them for many years, and I can't be happier. So definitely do check them out if you want the strongest exchange in the space for sure. And they're just giving you a free $500 Bitcoin position, which is absolutely sick. So definitely worth checking that out. Again, like I said, these exchanges are not available in all countries in the world, so just be mindful of your local country's regulations. But with that, ladies and gents, I hope you have enjoyed this one. I think there's some really interesting price action brewing here. I'm looking at, kind of testing this downside again, hopefully getting another kind of bounce. And, maybe we get lucky and we start forming some pretty obvious patterns, right? Like maybe we kind of fall down here and then we kind of capture resistance up at 66 and then again, but now we find resistance at 63. And then before you know it, we've actually formed a descending triangle. And now we have a very clear understanding of where this market might want to go and how, we can start to extrapolate targets and so on. It would be really good for the market. So there's some kind of cooling off going on here. It's really nice. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I think some really good stuff is probably about to open up here. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes locked to this. Definitely make sure to do the same on your side by subscribing to this channel and getting that bell icon checked so that you don't miss out on these very time sensitive update pieces. I really hope you've enjoyed this one, ladies and gents. You know what to do. Hit up that like button, get into my free 4Flies Gold Telegram channel if you want more free shit from me, including just more analysis and kind of trade insights for myself and my team all around the clock, all free of charge, straight to your phone. All right, ladies and gents, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers. Bye.